Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today for you guys is another movie review. Yes, I haven't seen any new movies. I wish I did. I will be soon, hopefully. But I got a comment in my video where I talked about different videos to kind of cover. You know, should I do Amazing Bulk, Star Wars Holiday Special, DVD Blu-ray. I already did the Blu-ray. The DVD one is coming up soon. And I also will be doing the Amazing Bulk and the Star Wars Holiday Special. Pray for me. But I got another comment to review Ghostbusters 2016 or Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Now, I watched this in 2016, and I had good memories of it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. And I just rewatched it, and I have the 4K Ultra HD, but it's just normal Blu-ray for me. I wanted to have LEGO Dimensions Ghostbusters, the Adventure World in the background, but my Xbox One, I can't put my USB in and the toy pad, so you're just going to be stuck doing this, which I think is fine. The background's still kind of cool. So, my subscriber said that it was the worst movie he's ever seen, and if he agreed, and I can't even talk, if he really thinks that Ghostbusters Answer the Call was the worst movie ever, power to you, you know, that's just that. But, I recently, well, let me also say that I watched the extended edition, alright? The extended is 134 minutes, and the original theatrical version was 116, so, be honest, upon watching the extended cut, I don't really know what was extended because I don't remember. And I'm not going to rewatch the theatrical, I just watched the extended. So, with that all being said, let me start out with the negatives for Ghostbusters 2016 or Ghostbusters Enter the Call. So, if you want me to cover Ghostbusters 3, I think it's called Afterlife, you can tell me that in the comments as well. Yeah, another Ghostbusters coming out next year. It's going to be with the original cast, so Bill Murray and all that. So, anyway, moving on to this one, the bad. I will say that some of the editing is good. I really enjoy the editing in this movie. However, some of the editing is a bit off. And it's not bad, it's just some scenes last too long, and then some scenes last too shortly, or some scenes aren't as long. You know what I mean? Like, they cut off too quick. There's certain movies, like the Star Wars prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3. Again, all Star Wars is good, but if I had to narrow it down to biggest problems with the prequel, I would probably say some of it would have to be the editing, because some scenes last too long, some scenes don't last long enough, and that's what this movie does as well, Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Again, it's not bad, but certain scenes, you know, when you're dealing with comedy, you have to do, certain scenes have to be shorter, or quicker, or zippier, or, you know, longer, depending on what you're doing. There are just some scenes that are, I was literally watching it a few hours ago, and I'm like, oh man, they could have had that longer. They could have had that a little bit, you know, tweak that, and have it a little bit more, you know, shortened out, or something like that. So, you know, it's not bad, but one of the small negatives is the editing, especially with the comedic timing. Another probably would be the writing. I don't hate this writing. In fact, I think it's very well written. But there are certain jokes that I didn't laugh at. Now, am I saying this movie is not a good comedy? No. I laughed a lot. And that, again, this all depends on your and my comedic, you know, value, I guess, or comedic, you know, wanting of what comedic is. Because think about it, you know, I watched the 4 Lego movies, and I think those are the funniest animated films ever made. I laugh consistently every few seconds for all 4 of those films. This movie is a live-action comedy, which, again, it's PG-13, so this is not a kid-friendly film, while the Lego movies are not for kids, but they are kid-friendly, so that's, you know, that's why there's that difference. But this is not a kid-friendly film. I wouldn't say the original Ghostbusters 1 and 2 are either, even though they were PG. That was basically the PG-13 back in the day. There is swearing, there is action, there is violence, there is sexual innuendo and all that, you know, and it's funny. But certain lines are just, I don't know, I think the actors do a good job. You know, Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy and Chris Hemsworth, I think they all do, you know, it's not the acting. The acting in this movie is great, and that's one of my positives I'll get to, but it's just the writing. Not every joke lands, and that's not that bad considering that I was laughing consistently throughout this film, or at least smiling, or at least chuckling, or or smirking. You know, I wasn't like, ha! You know, I wasn't like dying. I don't really die too much at movies, you know. I cried a few times in a few films, but I never really bust a gut laughing, you know, on the floor. So yeah, I smirked, I laughed, I smiled a few times, nothing crazy, and that's basically what it would warrant. But like I said, I do really believe that the writing could have been better, and that's why I think I was laughing a lot, but there are just certain jokes that just aren't funny to me. You know what I mean? You might laugh at them, you might not. So it all depends on what you think funny is. And there's a lot in this movie that's really funny. I think Chris Hemsworth is probably the standout funniest part. I think that him being an idiot is really funny. They kind of, you know, reverse this on its side. And let me just get this out of the way. The main reason why this movie, because critics, I don't care what critics have to say ever. What I say goes. But upon looking, critics enjoyed this movie. It's fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, whatever the hell you want to take that as. I don't care what they say about it. But if you follow critics, hey, they enjoyed it. And the users didn't. And I'm going to tell you why the users didn't. And you might disagree, but this is the truth. This is facts. The biggest reason, at least, why people did not like Ghostbusters Answer the Call is because it was an all-female cast, right? You get these SJW morons, and I don't even like bringing these freaks up, but it's true, because they're getting in everything. Captain Marvel, worst movie ever. Why? It was a great film. Brie Larson's in it. What did Brie Larson do? She's terrible. She's a bad person. How? I think Brie Larson, yeah, she's hot, but I don't know, she's not freaking Hitler, you know what I mean? She seems like a nice woman. You get Rey in Star Wars. Newsflash, Rey is a Skywalker, and she's not a Mary Sue. Just for all you fake fans out there, I just might have put that out. She's not a Mary Sue. In fact, she's the complete opposite. But everyone hates Rey because she's a female Jedi. Oh, you can't have female Jedi? Well, you can. It was in the prequels, all this yada yada yada. You can't have female Ghostbusters? You can't F with the originals. They were my childhood. Well, it's in a different universe. It's a reboot. And with all that out of the way, I'm not sexist, alright? If a woman in a movie is bitching the whole time, I broke a nail! Yeah, that's annoying. But none of these women were the, stereotypical woman. They weren't putting on makeup all the time and talking, like I said, nails and all that. They were doing stuff, you know what I mean? They weren't, like, just biatching the whole time about girly things. So, as a dude, a 21-year-old dude watching this movie, upon liking, I guess, masculine movies, I don't watch Barbie and all that, I do think that this is a film for girls and boys. Especially boys, because, I mean, come on, it's Ghostbusters. But, still, I think that the main reason why this movie was hated was because it was female. And, it just reversed it. And you get Chris Hemsworth, who was the dude, the idiot. In the original, there was a girl idiot, you know what I mean? So it's just clever switching around. It's nothing to do with, oh, we think men are evil, or we think women are superior. It's nothing like that. It was just a playful twist upon what you quote-unquote grew up with. And I really enjoyed that fact. I think, like I said, all the actors were really great. I think the only one that, probably the least funny Ghostbuster was Leslie Jones's character, and I don't even, Patty something? I don't remember her name. Her name was Patty. She was funny, but she was the least funny. You know what I mean? I did laugh at what she had to say. I think the funniest, upon looking at this cover right here, was probably Holtzman, Kate McKinnon. I do think that Melissa McCarthy and, she was an Anchorman too. What the hell's her name? Kristen Wiig. That was it. Kristen Wiig. She was in it. I think she was funny too. So again, they're all funny. It's just that Leslie Jones just wasn't the funniest. That's just my opinion. You know what I mean? She was funny, but just not amazingly funny. But again, Kevin is so effing funny. He hits a gong and he's like, oh my eyes. He puts his Australian hands in his eyes like this, and it's so funny because he like, I'm wearing glasses. We have this, of course, the lens, right? That's how you effing see. He has the lenses out, and they're like, Kevin, he itches his eye, and they're like, hey, what was the point of that? He's like, oh, my eyes get itchy, I have to scratch them. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you freaking moron, He's really funny. I think he was the funniest part. There's a lot of clever things in this movie. I think that having, okay, well, let me touch on this really fast before I continue. Rowan, whatever the heck his last name is, not from the Freemaker Adventures, another Rowan. See, this is a tricky thing when you think about it, because in the original Ghostbusters 1, there really wasn't a bad guy. It was just the ghosts, I did not see Ghostbusters 2. I want to, and I still need to. I don't care what anyone says. I want to watch it and discover it for myself. However, from Ghostbusters 1, there really isn't a bad guy. Rowan in this film, this is really the first time that I've seen a bad guy character in Ghostbusters. He actually has a reason to be evil. And it's not the best, it's not Darth Vader, it isn't Kylo Ren, it isn't even Lord Garmadon from the Lego Ninjago movie. It's just, I was bullied, so I'm going to F with other people's lives. That's it. And you're sympathetic because you're like, oh shit, he was bullied, oh no. But then it's like, oh, well, don't screw the whole world up. What are you doing, dude? So it's not the best villain in the world. It's probably one of the worst villains ever. But I'm not saying it's bad in this context because that's what this movie needed. This is not a straight-up comedy, and this is not a straight-up horror film. This is a blend of the both. So to have a character that isn't too compelling, but still compelling enough for this IP, is, I think, really well-deserved. And he did what he had to. It wasn't the best, but whatever. So on to the best positives. I think that, like I said, the acting and writing are pretty good for the most part. The acting's great, by the way. I think the writing's pretty good. The acting's amazing. It was funny throughout, consistently. There were a lot of really cool cameos from the original Ghostbusters cast. I don't think, what was his name? Egon Spanger? I'm going to get totally effed up in the comments, but Egon, he's not in this, sadly. I believe he passed away. But every other Ghostbuster, including the, even like the girl, I haven't seen Ghostbusters 1 in forever, but the girl Bill Murray's into, Peter Venkman, the receptionist, and the original Ghostbusters HQ, they're all making really cool, comebacks and returns, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a really cool thing. It's a lot of people were like, oh, they effed on Bill Murray. It's like, no, he was just, again, this is a reboot, so it's just a really clever call. It's like having Stan Lee in your movie, in a Marvel movie. He has no reason to be there, but he's Stan Lee. He invented the character, so that's why he's there. They're just paying homage. It's not that hard, guys. It's like John Williams in The Rise of Skywalker and Kajimi. He has no reason. He's just a bar dude, but he made the music. Same thing. I thought that was kind of cool. And then this movie, I gotta tell you, from 2016, I watched it on my normal Blu-ray player. This movie looks insanely good. The CGI is excellent. Slimer, when Rowan turns into the big ghost, another callback to the original, he smashes through buildings. It looks really effing good. It looks photo real. The ghost, the blue tint to the, and the red tint. It really looks good. Especially with my glasses on. This is the first time seeing it with my glasses, but so I was like, whoa, this is HD, But it really looked good. This is one of the best looking films I've ever seen, and this came out in 2016, so it really was looking good. Like I said, I don't get the hate. It's not a perfect film. Again, the editing could have been better, especially with the comedic timing. The writing could have been a little better, and Rowan could have been developed a little bit more. But it's not that big of a deal, again, because that's what this film calls for. At the end of the day, this is a fun reimagining of Ghostbusters. I really enjoyed it. I think that Kevin was really funny, and all the Ghostbusters were pretty funny. This had a better plot, too, than the original. I think it was it delved more into, Abby and Aaron just trying to, belong. They get bullied their whole lives, much like Rowan, but Rowan handles it differently than those two Ghostbuster girls do. So it's really cool how they do with that aspect, how they bounce back from that. The aspect ratio, like those black bars that are in most movies on your screen, they change a lot. So this movie is in 3D, and I watched it in 2D, so it can be a little bit cheesy. Sometimes the ecto shoot or whatever. By the way, I don't know if you can see, but that right there. That's it. Here, I'll get it. I'll get it in a minute. It's the Lego Ghostbuster car, but still the Ecto one. The Ecto shooter, whatever the heck you call it, that is there, and sometimes it leaves the screen when Abby is possessed by Rowan. Patty, she slaps her, and it's a funny scene, but Patty's head goes, out of the screen. They do that in a lot of movies. The Lego Ninjago movie did that from a few days ago when I watched it, when the ninja all get their elements, the aspect ratio changes, and it's cool. But this one, it was a little bit corny because I wasn't watching it in 3D, and it was like, here, it's in 3D. It's like Spy Kids 3D, Oh, by the way, this movie's in 3D if you didn't know. Here's special effects in your face, It looks cool, but it doesn't really need it for the plot. Again, it's really just a visual thing. But again, at the end of the day, I think Ghostbusters Answer the Call was a really well-made movie. Again, I watched the extended version, so maybe you didn't see the extended. I don't even know if you saw the whole movie. But I do think you need to rewatch it. Again, if it's not your humor, I understand that. But really, I think the main reason why this film gets hate is because they're women, and that's just stupid. If they're dumb women and they don't progress the plot, then I could see. But they are smart, capable characters, so it works. So anyway, I'm gonna I'm probably gonna give Ghostbusters Answer the Call. I'm probably gonna I don't know. I'll give it a B+. How about that? I think the editing is good. Could have been better. Writing, good. Could have been better. And Rowan, good, because that's what this film needs. Could have been better. But other than that, the acting was great. This is one of the best looking films ever made, I think. It looks exceptionally awesome. This is also the scariest Ghostbuster film. The first two, or the first one that I saw, wasn't scary. Of course, because it was in the 80s and it looked like crap. But, it was trying to be somewhat scary and also funny. This movie is actually, it has some horror elements to it. There's a really awesome scene where I think Aaron is behind a door, and pretend there's a door behind me. And the door opens really slowly, but you don't hear it creak. That's one cliche down. And then I'm expecting the door to go BAM! And slow, and scare the crap out of me. But it didn't do that. It just opened, completely silent. And that was awesome. Because it just, it subverted my expectations in a good way. I'm expecting all this, loud noises. And there were some loud noise jump scares. But, this really isn't a horror film. There's a really funny part with a mannequin that's chasing Patty down the hall. It's, some of it can be kind of, freaky. And that's probably why it's PG-13. But I thought it was funny. Had some good horror elements to it while not being actually a horror film. It had some pretty freaky parts, I think. And, yeah, like I said, I wouldn't really mind having a sequel. And I know it will never happen. But I think people were too harsh on this film. I think if you really hated it, I would advise you to watch it again. It's not your type of comedy, I understand. This movie has a lot of comedy, you know, from fart jokes all the way to really smart humor that you'll only get if you saw the original or if you're into certain bands, you know. But anyway, again, to end this off, I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. What the hell am I saying? I don't do that. A B+, there we go. I keep saying 8. I haven't reviewed a movie in so freaking long. I keep saying 8 and 7. It's a B+. Anyway, guys, tell me in the comments what you thought. Again, don't be rude toward the actors. If you don't like it, respectfully tell me, and I'll respond. But again, I really don't see the hate. I really thought this was a fun movie. Again, it's not great. It could have been better, but it's definitely better than what I remember. Holds up. And I think I would, you know, I'd watch it again with my friends. I think it's good. So anyway, thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this again. It's not a new movie, but I can't really go to the theaters yet. So someone asked for Ghostbusters to answer the call, so I thought I'd deliver. I thought it was a fun movie. I'd rewatch it again. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.